Hey guys, welcome back to another video. Today I would like to talk about some movies that I feel like should be in the Criterion Collection. Hey guys, welcome back. Like I said, I have some movies here that I feel like should be in the Criterion Collection. If you're not familiar with the Criterion Collection, it is a collection of movies from around the world that they basically, actually, I'll go over the actual definition of each movie. So this is a Criterion film. You can just tell them by, there's like a little C up in the corner, which I should have picked a different one with the C more distinct, but you can see a little C, you can see right here on the edge, kind of, on the spine. Let's see if I'll not focus on my face. And each one is assigned a spine number. And then on the back, you can see here that it goes over the year, how long it is, if it's presented in color or black and white, the aspect ratio, and the language. And it's also a Blu-ray. This is a Blu-ray edition of a movie. And then down here is a little like summary of what the Criterion Collection is. Now, I should say the Criterion Collection to me is my absolute favorite thing to collect for. I would say I have about half of the collection right now as I'm recording this, but my ultimate goal is to own all of the Criterion that they released. They're up to like 1,000, what is it? They're like almost at 1,200 right now. But it is a very fun collection because it exposes you to a lot of different types of films. But I'll read the definition here of what they summarize what the Criterion Collection is. But they say, the Criterion Collection is dedicated to gathering the greatest films from around the world and publishing them in editions of the highest technical quality, with supplemental features that enhance the appreciation of the art of film. Visit us at criterion.com. So it's basically, the way I tell it to people is that Criterion kind of just takes movies that are either underappreciated or might have been lost to time, or that they feel are important to film as an art form. Movies like in the Criterion are some of the biggest ones, the biggest names I should say, is movies like The Seven Samurai, or I should say Seven Samurai, that movie, along with a movie called The Hidden Fortress, essentially inspired George Lucas to make Star Wars. And I guess I should say Seven Samurai kind of like inspired the whole like hero's journey. Other films such as A Hard Day's Night, which is the Beatles film, has been a very important movie to cinema overall as well. More recently, there's been a couple movies such as Citizen Kane, which has been put into the Criterion Collection, which that movie, obviously, if you know anything about movies, the Citizen Kane is probably, arguably, one of the most important films ever to be made. And I guess movies like, actually, this was a more recent one, but WALL-E from Pixar and Disney, which is a very interesting one because, you know, this is the first time that Pixar and Disney are kind of collaborating with Criterion to put out that edition. But there's also a lot of lesser known films than Citizen Kane or WALL-E, for examples. There's movies like, let's see, I don't know, Children of Paradise is an example of a fantastic film that American audience might not know about. I believe I forget what language it's in, but it's definitely not in English. And other movies such as Band of Outsiders is one that I just watched the other night, which is fantastic. And there's a ton of films. If you are not familiar with the Criterion Collection, I would highly recommend checking out their website and just looking around on what they offer. I think it will kind of expose you to a lot of different types of films, and just honestly, just movies from around the world with different cultures, different backgrounds, and I really, really think it's just like a very important collection to just explore and just watch, because I think a lot of the times, especially in American audience, people will just watch what they're comfortable with. They'll just go and see the new Marvel or the new Disney movie, and they won't think deeper than that and go into a deeper, I don't know, a deeper world of film. Because once you really start diving into movies, you realize how many there actually are and how like vast this whole like, you know, cinema art form there really is. So with all of that being said, I have here 25 films that I feel would fit the Criterion mold. I don't have them in any particular order. I gave myself a few rules with this when I was trying to pick out some movies. The first one is I had to have seen the movie. I didn't want to pick out movies that I felt were just like the typical answers of, you know, what should be in the Criterion Collection, especially if I haven't seen it. Some of them have been released on Criterion Laserdisc. I should add that Criterion started off on Laserdisc back in the 80s and 90s, somewhere on that. I'm not exactly sure when that took place, but they started off on Laserdisc and then they moved to DVD and Blu-ray as the and now 4K as the years go on. So some of my picks were movies that were released on Criterion Laserdisc. I don't necessarily count that to be part of the Criterion Collection, mainly because it's not like all Laserdiscs are out of print, so they're all, you know, not in print anymore. So it's, I guess my first pick actually is one that was on Laserdisc. So that was another like little rule, is like it doesn't matter if they were on Laserdisc or not. These are my picks for would be nice to see these in the next, you know, sometime in the future. Obviously, I have absolutely no control over what gets put into the Criterion Collection. These would be fantastic. I think a lot of people honestly would be happy with some of these. Some of these you might not agree with. So I'm just gonna, these are all my like personal picks. I'm just gonna jump right into them and just go from there, I guess. So again, in no particular order, first one here is Taxi Driver. Now this is an example of one that was on Criterion Laserdisc, but obviously is not in the Criterion Collection currently. I just feel like this movie, it holds like a very significant part of cinema as an art form. This one might be borderline like not underappreciated. That's kind of like, I don't know how I judge it, if it's like underappreciated or not, but I do think that this movie would make a fantastic addition into the Criterion Collection. The next one here, if you've watched my, I think it was what, 24 films, my top 24 films, I think it was 24. If you watch that video, this will be no surprise at all, but that is Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind. I absolutely just love this movie. I really just think that the story that it tells is just fantastic, and I mean, I know Kino Lorber right now has the rights for the 4K, but I would love to see this on a 4K and Criterion, especially with some fantastic supplements. I think that would be such a fun movie, or such a fun addition, because I really think when people think Jim Carrey, they don't think serious roles. I think they think of like Ace Ventura or The Mask, or, you know, I don't know, any of the other movies that he was in, but I really think that this is it kind of shows his acting ability more. The next one here is actually an A24 movie, and I really think A24 as a label, I really think that they just put out a lot of good stuff, and honestly, most of their movies that they put out would probably work within the Criterion Collection. So far, we've only gotten one A24 Criterion crossover, which is Uncut Gems. But I feel like another one that would be fantastic would be A Ghost Story. This movie just feels like it would be perfect for Criterion. I think the music is fantastic, and just overall, I just feel like it's it tells a very interesting story. I really think it's a unique and interesting story that, I don't know, I feel like people like this, but I don't hear a lot of people talking about this movie. It's fantastic. I really, really do appreciate it. The next one here is a Werner Herzog. I don't know actually how you say his name, but this one's probably going to be no surprise for movie fans. Fitzgeraldo, which I guess I can show it without the slipcover. So this movie, actually, there is a documentary about this movie within the Criterion Collection currently. I should have had that on hand, but that is A Burden of Dreams, which is the documentary within the collection. I just feel like this film, it achieves something fantastic, which is, you know, quite literally taking a boat and putting it over a mountain. And it's not just a small boat, it is like a giant boat, and it's just very fascinating on how they actually did it. But the movie makes it, I don't know, it gives it kind of more context, and I think this is a fantastic film that more people should see. The next one here is a Gaspar Noé, I think that's how you say his last name, Gaspar Noé film, which I mean, a lot of his films they could also fit the mold for Criterion, but out of all of them, I feel like Enter the Void would be a fantastic 4K for the collection. And this movie is definitely not for everyone. I would say all of Gaspar's, Gaspar, I don't know how you say his name, all of his movies had like this very interesting camera work, and I really think that it's very unique, and it like kind of defies the laws of like what a camera can do. If you saw the newest John Wick movie, John Wick 4, the camera in the house sequence where the camera's kind of like overhead in the house, that reminded me so much of this movie. If you've seen this movie and that one, hopefully you understand. Like, it feels like the camera's just like floating in its own character throughout the whole movie, which I really think that's very unique and interesting. The next one here, this is a movie that I had the hardest time even finding a copy. This is one that actually, you know, the back is in Chinese, I believe. Definitely not in English. And so this is a region, Korean, I think. I think it's in Korean. Yeah. This is definitely a region-free disc, or region 0. So this is not a like region 1, like American copy, but you can play it on an American player. And I just think that this movie would benefit from a nice Blu-ray or 4K transfer, and you know, I think it would allow people to actually see this movie. But that is the movie. This is from Ken Russell, and that is The Devils. I think this movie just tells a very interesting story of just, you know, back in the day with like, I don't know, just how awful life must have been back when, I don't even know what year, like what time period it would have taken place in, but when like witch trials and stuff like that was happening. Very fascinating film. I really think some of the cinematography is very interesting. Some like really creepy shots. I mean, it's not technically a horror movie. I'd consider this to be more of like a drama, but definitely one that I don't think enough people have seen, and I really think that this would be fantastic to see in the Criterion Collection. The next one here, which at this point, this just needs to be in the collection because then we can maybe get a box set of all of this director's work, which I think would be fantastic. But that is the movie, this is David Lynch's Wild at Heart. And so this, let's see, this movie, The Straight Story, and Dune are the only feature films of David Lynch's that we do not have in the Criterion Collection yet. So I think it would be fantastic to get, you know, all of them and then just get a nice Blu-ray set for like all of his films, because I think he's one of the most important directors that is working today. I think his style and his vision's very, very unique. And I think this one, it kind of, I think this might be one of my favorite Nicolas Cage performances. I think it's so fun. It's such a fun movie that I don't know. It's definitely David Lynch, but I really think that Wild at Heart would be a nice addition. The next one here, this one might be a little bit of a controversial pick, because some people might think that this is already too popular or enough people have seen it. It doesn't really matter, but I mean, then again, you know, Marriage Story is in the Criterion Collection, and that is a popular Netflix movie, but I really think that The Truman Show should be added into the Criterion Collection. I think the idea of this show, it just kind of, it's a nice commentary on just life and our view of, at least this is how I perceive it. It's a commentary on reality TV and how we watch reality TV and how, you know, I don't know, it's a nice, I don't know how to explain it, but it's one of those movies that I have thought about this movie like pretty often since I've seen it. And I saw it a very long time ago, and so it pops into my mind at least, I would say, at the bare minimum once every other month, if that. I mean, if, you know, I shouldn't say if that, but at least once every other month, maybe more. But it's one of those movies that I feel like it would benefit from a nice 4K in Criterion or Blu-ray, honestly. So I will say that also, I don't have I should mention, I don't have a ton of foreign films within my little stack here, mainly because I do have a few, but mainly because the majority of the movies that I watch that are in a foreign language are within the Criterion Collection, and I just have, you know, so many movies to watch that, like, I don't know, I usually watch, if I'm going to watch a movie, I usually am watching Criterion or another boutique label. It's kind of rare that I actually pop in like a random movie from, you know, another part of my movie room. But with that being said, that I do have a few foreign movies, but I would like to add more. Just currently, that's just the situation I'm in. And the next one here, this is one that I feel like a lot of movie people would have heard of at least. But that is Alejandro Jodorowsky's The Holy Mountain. If you watch one of my videos, a few videos back, I don't remember which one, but I go over that this was a box set, or this movie is part of a box set that I've been wanting for a very long time. And I saw this movie originally on DVD, because I had like a DVD box set of these, but I really think that this movie is truly unique. And I really think that Criterion, if they got, you know, the rights to this, there's a good amount of special features on this disc, which is, I think Arrow Video had something to do. Yeah, Arrow Video technically produced this, I think. But I really think that with the right special features and, you know, they could really do something cool with this movie. Or honestly, all of Jodorowsky's movies. I think that his, you know, he reminds me of David Lynch in the sense of like the weird abstract stuff, and so I think that he would fit into the mold of Criterion. The next one here, there's a number of Alfred Hitchcock films within the collection. There's Rebecca, Notorious, Spellbound. I'm trying to think of the other ones. The Lady Vanishes. And I feel like there's at least one more, maybe. Oh, there's like The Lodger. Oh, and Foreign Correspondent. So there's a number of Alfred Hitchcock films within the collection, but I feel like one that would be a nice addition with along with those ones would be the movie Rope. I feel like this movie builds tension and it really just encapsulates like what Alfred Hitchcock did with suspense. And I really think like just this movie in general is just like such a fantastic movie. I remember watching it. It's an hour and 21 minutes, and for an hour and 21 minutes, my eyes did not leave the screen when I was watching this movie. It's just one of those films that I could probably put this on and just be just as entertained from the first time that I watched it. And so it's definitely just one movie that any movie lover, or honestly anybody that just enjoys watching movies, should really just check it out. And again, going back to my top 24 films, if you watch that video, this one will be no surprise, but that is the movie Comet. Again, this movie I absolutely just love. About everything about this movie. This is one that I'm constantly just listening to the soundtrack, or, you know, if it's like a rainy day and I just want to pop something in and just enjoy, this is something that I'll definitely just like pop in. And I've seen this movie like 3 or 4 times at this point, maybe even more. The first time I watched it, as soon as it ended, I just hit play again and watched it again. Yeah, it's just one movie that I will forever love. And I don't know why, there's just something about it that I absolutely just love about that movie, and I would love to see that within the Criterion Collection, because I really don't feel like enough people talk about that movie. I feel like, you know, there's not much, like, not many even people have heard about it, so I really think, like, if Criterion got a hold of the rights, it could really just, you know, push that movie into popularity, I guess. The next one here, this is probably one that a lot of people would have on their wish list for Criterion, but that is the movie The Conformist. So this is a foreign film, I should point out. This is, what language are you in? Italian? French? No. I think, yeah, there's an English, Italian, yeah, I want to say it's Italian. I think this is an Italian film, if I'm not mistaken. But this is just a film that I feel like you know, if you've seen compilations of like best shots in movie history, you've probably seen some screenshots of this movie. I just really think that this movie it's so well done, and the cinematography alone would, like, you know, it's such a worthwhile watching this film. If you ever get a chance to check this out, I would highly recommend it, and I really think if Criterion put this in the collection, it would sell very well. The next one here is a movie that I really think that it would also sell well, because I think it fits their, like, they kind of have a small, like, theme kind of running in the collection already. They have War of the Worlds, they have 1984, they have, I mean, Night of the Living Dead, like, and I'm trying to think if there's any others that I would consider part of this, like, small subgenre of the collection, I guess. Yeah, I don't know if there's any others, but, oh, Incredible Shrinking Man, where it's like these older, like, sci-fi, almost horror films, where, you know, it's like, you know, where there was like it's definitely like 50s and 60s era, and I think this movie would fall perfectly into like movies like War of the Worlds or Incredible Shrinking Man, and but this one is the Invasion of the Body Snatchers. Maybe it'll focus. This is the original black and white 1956 version. So I really think that this would do very well within the Criterion Collection, because I think it just fits their like their style. And the next one here, this is another one that I really think a lot of people would agree that would make a fantastic addition, which is Aguirre, The Wrath of God. So this is another Werner Herzog movie that is one that I just feel like it's not super common, like, to find. I don't know if there's ever been a Blu-ray release of this. There might have been, I don't know. Or if there was, there might have been only in Region B. But I think that this would add a, you know, this would add a nice addition to the collection. The next one here is the movie The Cook, the Thief, His Wife, and Her Lover. This is another movie that I feel like if you've seen screenshots of like the most beautiful shots within cinema, at some point this movie will be brought up and talked about. This is Peter Greenaway's film, and I remember this was actually a fairly hard movie to come by. just on DVD. I think there was a, I want to say there was an Umbrella Entertainment put out a Blu-ray, which is Region B. So I think currently there's no Region A Blu-ray disc of that movie. I think the only way to watch it, Region A, is on DVD, which is unfortunate because I really think that it's a very interesting movie, and it does some very interesting things, and the world that it builds feels very like lived in. But I really think that they would, you know, be a really cool addition. The next one here, I don't know if you can consider this a movie necessarily. It's more of a experimental like art piece, I guess, which it kind of tells a story. But this is the film Russian Ark. Maybe if you'll focus, maybe. So Russian Ark it's a 99 minutes long. It's from 2002. It's in Russian with English subtitles. But it is basically going over like Russian history. They had like 2 days at this museum. I don't know which, in St. Petersburg, Russia. They had 2 days with this museum, and pretty much the entire, I mean, the whole movie is actually one take. So think like Birdman, the like Best Picture winner. Think that movie, but instead of it like having cuts, like this movie didn't have cuts. This is 99 minutes of pure one take, and it is fantastic. It is such a, it's insane that this movie even was able to do what it did. It like kind of goes over Russian history, and so there's all these characters moving within the museum that were like part of Russian history and kind of interacting with each other. It's very, very interesting, and I would highly, highly, highly recommend checking this out if you are a movie lover. But Kino put out a Blu-ray of this, but I do think that this would be cool to see in the Criterion Collection, especially with some more special features. I think that would be a really cool addition. And speaking of Kino, this one's actually is a Kino Classic Blu-ray as well. And I think Eureka put out a Blu-ray of this, which is Region B, and obviously we have the Kino Blu-ray, but I would love to see this get the proper like Criterion treatment. I think it would just, it would work well with this movie. It's from 1929, and that is The Man with the Movie Camera, or Man with a Movie Camera, I'm sorry. This is, so it's like, it kind of falls under that like, you know, if it's, you know, right at the end of the 20s into the 30s, I think it would fall into that like, you know, almost like Charlie Chaplin like era of film. But I want to say this wasn't, yeah, it has English subtitles, and I want to say it was filmed not in America. I want to say this was France, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, it's just a very fascinating movie, especially the fact that when it was made, some of the special effects and the way that they filmed some of the stuff was very, very interesting. It feels very like groundbreaking for its time, and it's only 67 minutes long, so it would definitely be, it's definitely like a quick short watch, but it's a very interesting watch. So if you ever get a chance, I would highly recommend checking this movie out. And I really think that this would be a really cool like 4K in the Criterion Collection. And if you're a movie fan, this one should come as no surprise. They do have a Blu-ray of this, however, the Blu-ray is very out of print, and so I think it sells for like upwards to $100. So I only have the DVD here, but that is the movie The Fall. This film is very, very interesting. It's, I don't know what year it came out, but it is, basically it's like the whole movie like half takes place in a like a hospital, and then half of it takes place in like a little girl's like imagination. It's very good. It's a very fantastic film, very colorful, it like uses color very, very well. I'm still kicking myself because I remember seeing on Facebook Marketplace, somebody was selling like, you know, I think it was like maybe 10 or 20 movies, and one of the movies within here was The Fall on Blu-ray, and they were only asking like, I don't know, it was like $20 for all of them. And so I messaged as quickly as I possibly could, but unfortunately they said, oh, somebody else is coming to pick them up. So somebody else beat me to it, but I could have got this movie for like $20 on Blu-ray at least. So I think that this one would benefit from a Criterion Blu-ray, mainly because of the color usage in this movie. This is another one that if you've ever seen a screenshot of or one of those compilations of the most beautiful movies, this is more likely, or most likely, somewhere in that video, because the cinematography in the movie is fantastic. This one also, I feel like, I know they do make a Blu-ray, or Kino makes a Blu-ray of this, but then again, Kino makes a Blu-ray of a lot of these movies. This one, I think that this would fall under the, like the movie The Phantom Carriage, which is from, I think it's the oldest movie within the Criterion Collection, which meaning like the year, not like oldest to the collection. Yeah, you'll get it. And so this would kind of fall under in that like really, really old black and white, silent, like almost horror. But this is from 1925, and that is the original Phantom of the Opera. And so I only have the DVD here. It's, this movie is only 79 minutes long. But I do think that this would be really cool to see get a Blu-ray release like within the collection. I remember seeing this movie, and it's definitely ahead of its time, I would say, for it. But yeah, I think if they got like the original Phantom of the Opera within the collection, I think that would, like, I don't know, kind of open the door for more like obscure, like, I don't know, what do you call them? Like obscure, like older horror. I mean, Haxan was another movie that was like really, really, really old horror. I know movies like El Inferno, I think that's just El Inferno, which is a really, really old, along with like Haxan, it was like that really old like horror movie, which is black and white and just silent and, crazy imagery. But anyway, the next one here, this is one that was technically on Laserdisc that I think would be really cool to see come back to the collection, and that is the movie Forbidden Planet. I think a lot of people would know about this movie, especially the robot here. I think a lot of people have seen this guy in like posters and different books and whatnot, but I don't know. Like, I feel like not many people have actually seen this movie. I think that this would just be a cool, I don't know, a cool addition to the collection. And it'd be really cool if they could put together like an old, like, sci-fi box, if that makes sense. So like War of the Worlds, Incredible Shrinking Man, Forbidden Planet. What was the other one I mentioned? Yeah, Invasion of the Body Snatchers. And honestly, one more that's going to be coming up here soon. I think it'd be really cool to like put together a like old black and white like sci-fi horror like box set. I think that would be a really, really cool set to have. I don't know if that's something more along the lines of what like Arrow Video does. I don't know if that would fit Criterion's like mold, but nevertheless, I think that would be a really cool addition. And this one here, this is, I think that this would also make a nice addition, would be Mr. Smith Goes to Washington. Yeah, I think this is a fantastic film. If you've not seen Frank Cappa's Mr. Smith Goes to Washington, highly recommend checking this out. What year was this? 1939, I believe. Yeah, this is a really, really cool movie. Fantastic acting by James Stewart, as always. I mean, he's just fantastic. But yeah, definitely go check this movie out. I remember we watched it in school and just everyone was making fun of it the whole time, but like, I was just like, why? It's so good. So this one is technically, as I started recording this, I remember this is technically part of the Criterion Collection. However, it's out of print, and it's been out of print for a very, very long time. I think this would be a fantastic movie to bring back into print and put on 4K. Arrow Video, I think, currently holds the rights to this movie. And I think if Criterion could get the rights and just you know, put a bunch of special features that Arrow did not have, even though that would be kind of a hard challenge because there is a lot of special features on this disc. But I have the Arrow video version of the movie here, and that is RoboCop. I think the commentary on society and just like police and all that stuff, like it's so well done in this movie, and I really think that more people should see this movie. And honestly, I need to rewatch it soon. I haven't seen it in a while, but I really think that bringing this back into the Criterion Collection would be really cool. It's currently sitting at, what is that, 23? It's spine number 23 within the Criterion Collection. So if they could re-release this on 4K, I think it would do well. Because there was like an era of, I mean, it goes like Dead Ringers, Summertime, and RoboCop, sorry. Summertime recently got a Blu-ray, or I think it's either a Blu-ray or 4K. But I think Dead Ringers would be another example of like if they brought some of these older films like back into the collection. They did do that with Silence of the Lambs. They brought it back into a nice Blu-ray release. But I don't know. I think that this would be an example of one that would be fantastic to bring back. And the next one here, this is one that I have seen in multiple posts about, you know, what movies would be fantastic to see within the collection. And that would be Children of Men. This is just all around just a fantastic movie. It's directed by Alfonso Cuarón, which he did Roma, which I believe that is in the Criterion Collection. And he did like Gravity and a couple other movies too that are pretty big. But I think that this movie is just especially like just some of the cinematography, some of the, I mean, what the movie is trying to say, I think it's a very important message, and just, I don't know. I think it's fantastic. It's such a great movie. If you have not seen this movie, definitely go check it out. I was gonna say on DVD or Blu-ray, it's fairly easy to come by. I need to get it on Blu-ray, but this is just an example of another one that I think would be fantastic within the collection. And then this one was on Laserdisc, and I don't know if it would ever actually come back into the collection. It might have became too popular at this point for them, which that makes it sound very like, I don't know, hipstery, but I think Criterion could do something really cool with this movie. And that is the movie Blade Runner, which is one of my favorite sci-fi films ever made. And it's definitely like, I don't know, it's definitely, I think, it's become more well-known throughout the years. And obviously, I mean, they have released it on 4K, and yeah, I don't know. I think that, like, this has 7 hours of special features, it says. But, I mean, I have the Blu-ray, like the 5-disc Blu-ray set, and, you know, all the different editions of the movie. But I really think that Criterion could put out a very nice like 4K of this, and just a really nice transfer. And I think it'd just be one of those that'd be really nice just to bring from Laserdisc back into the collection. And the last one here, this would go along with the like old time like era of like sci-fi, like black and white and stuff. This is another one that was on Laserdisc, but if they brought it back to the collection, I think that would be fantastic to see this on like a nice 4K of this film. And that is the movie King Kong. And this is the original 1930, what year is this? 1933, sorry. So I think that this would be really cool to see, bring it from the original Criterion Laserdiscs back into the collection. And with that, that is all of the 25 films that I feel would deserve a spot within the Criterion Collection. Again, there are so many other ones that I like that could fit that. I mean, it's so hard to just like pick out just certain movies, and I feel like there's a lot of movies that I have not seen that I would love to, you know, I feel like even though not seeing them, I feel like they would kind of fit the Criterion mold. So what would you put in the Criterion Collection if you had the opportunity to? Do you agree with my picks? Do you disagree? I would absolutely love to hear all of your guys' comments down below, and all of your thoughts and feedback. I would really actually love to interact and just hear from you guys. But thank you so much for watching this and taking the time just to go over, for listening to me talk over which movies I think would fit in the Criterion Collection. As I'm recording this, I am currently sitting at 998 subscribers. So probably very soon I'm going to be hitting 1,000 subscribers, which is absolutely insane. And I did a poll the other day on my Instagram that, you know, what should I do when I hit 1,000 subscribers? I had the idea of just doing a live stream. I think that would be a, you know, a fun way for you guys to interact with me, ask me questions. And yeah, I would love to do that. I think it'd be a lot of fun. And so once I hit 1,000, I will definitely do a live stream. I'll definitely probably try to advertise that a little bit more and set that up. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching this video. I really do appreciate it. If you guys don't know, I have an Instagram. It's Kyle's Movie Collection. And over there, you guys can just see some stuff that I post and just some cool things that I pick up. So thank you guys, as always, for all the support. I do appreciate it. And I will see you guys in the next video. Bye.